did.
She signed. Are you ready to move? I said, yeah.
Fine, thank you. Just fine.
Are you serious?
The public forum is open at 6:45 on Monday, April 8th, 2019, and the first speaker is Mitzi Antezo. Mitzi, please come forward and give us your address. Keep it to 5 minutes.
It'll be less, Jim.
Thank you, Mitzi. Station 9 years. You mean talk grandparents? Yeah, that's where I'm stationed. Yeah, I have 3 kids with them. Oh yeah, I got a lot of friends there.
Sheesh. Mitzi Antezo, 367 Windsor Avenue, Stratford. Wait a minute, I gotta get my glasses. Don't start counting.
I can't, I don't know if mine can, the one in the hallway can, but that's only black and white. Oh. Yeah,
Okay.
people don't like, double-sided.
Okay,
Agendas.
starting again. My principal interest today, and greetings, council people. Never mind, my canes. They just keep falling over. I'm talking about the WPCA budget. And I'm first noticing item 7001, if you happen to have the budget in front of you. This is for the WPCA. And it says, transfer applied overhead, $900,000. That's almost $1 million, folks. Now, if I go back to never mind, just leave them there. If I go back to previous budgets, the overhead or the transfer at the time was like $300,000. And that's because at some point on previous budgets, the town was charging rent to the sewer system. But it appears that whoever made this budget up put the rental and the overhead together and came up with close to $1 million. I would ask you as council people to ask for a detailed list of the overhead applications, because by and large, the WPCA covers its own benefits, and if you look at the budget, at the expenses, you'll see they pay for pension fund, payroll tax, health insurance, life disability insurance. This is all coming out of our sewer fund fee. Contract settlements, there's a whole list here that are paid for already. Now, I realize the town does provide some services, but the tune of close to $1 million, I think, is grossly overrated. One other thing I'm going to say was I went to a previous budget, and we had a calculation sheet. And it told you the number of units in town, the estimated revenue, percent of collection rate, both for residential and commercial. With commercial, it was the user rate. I think it's per 100 estimated usage CCFs. That was not on this budget at all, so I don't know how you were supposed to put any figures together and come up with anything except the same old figure, and I don't think it should be. I think it should probably go down a bit. I'm sure we have more units now. I don't know. But I would urge you to at least ask for a detailed list of the overhead applications. I think it's grossly exaggerated to close to $1 million. Too much. Thank you. Wait a minute.
Thank you, Mitzi. Next speaker is Linda Palermo. Linda, please come forward and state your name and your address, please. Keep it to 5 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening. Linda Palermo, 46 Vault Place. I've read today that they have either caught or arrested several people or persons who caused the fire to occur at the Shakespeare Theater. If in fact these people are under the age of, I think, 17, I would like to know, and I almost would like to say pursuant to freedom of information, who will be responsible for the damages? The parents because of their age? Or are they going to bring this forward in a different manner? Okay, and I understand right now there's 2 people or persons, young men, who do go to Stratford High School. And then the second question I'd like to ask, because I was here for part of the presentation on the park, water park. I understand that they're now voting on 2 different places or putting it into different places. So as a taxpayer, I think we're entitled to know how many they're going to be putting up. It's basically derived from our tax dollar. Okay, so I want it specific. I would personally like to have that specifically answered. Okay, and those are my only questions for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. The next speaker is Mr. Rimkunis. And Mr. Rimkunis, come forward and state your address. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Rimkunis, Walter P., 425 2nd Avenue, Lordship, Stratford, Connecticut. I got a surprise this morning, and by looking at the paper, I can still read the paper, and I see one of my favorite subjects outside of the Stratford High School is back in the news. It seems that my friends over there, my neighbor, Bridgeport Airport, is back in the news. And I don't know, I haven't seen anything on what actually is going to be done. And I caution you people, I was sold down the river on the last expansion. I hope you people will take the time, the effort to really look into what is going to be done with the 1129 runway down at the airport. Then also, oh boy, must be a big fire. Then we got buildings that are going to be put up down there. I hope we look and take the time to figure out what is the best way to get the taxes that are going to be done on the buildings. The last time they built, people gave them payment in lieu of taxes. And I don't think we got fair value on that. So I think we should really look into the evaluation and the people who are going to put up these new buildings over at the airport pay their fair share to us. Speaking as one of the last PYE group, for people who don't know, that's Protect Your Environment. It has been dissolved. I am still here. I still feel that I am going to be able to speak on that. So beware. Number 2 on my list, it's a little short thing. Same way Mitzi's got me started. Okay, I was going through this. I can't understand it anymore. Leave it there. Okay, thank you. I was going through this, and I don't understand it anymore. My mind doesn't go as good. But down in school improvements on there, it says parks, Benell Post tension courts, $40,000. They got a new sport up there, Benell? Tension courts? Tension courts. $40,000. Must be a big thing. Another one got me. I'm jealous because I'm associated with Stratford. Benell is secondary. But I see Benell baseball field renovation, $1.5 million. What are they going to do? Build another Yankee Stadium over there? That place is fairly good for what they need. They only use one team uses it. That's it. Like Pender's Field is used by everybody in town. $1.5 million. Boy, that's really good. I don't know. I heard somebody just tell me that they finally found out what's going on over at Shakespeare. You know, that's dear to my heart. I've worked there a long time on my own with my wife and the boys and girls, and we had a good time trying to keep it. I hope we finally come up with a good result over there, that it continues as an academic project for the whole town, all of Stratford, and not just for a small select few. With that, I'll say good night for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rakunas. Before I close the meeting, is there any other speakers? If not, we'll close the meeting at, come here. Stephanie, please come forward and state your name and your address, please.
Thank you. I'm a little on the short side, sorry. Thank you. It's Stephanie Phillips, 41 Yarwood Street in Stratford. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I first want to thank the fire department and the police department for their successful capturing, arrest of the 2 people who caused the fire at the Shakespeare Theater. I think we all wanted to know what was going on, so that's an appreciation. The other thing I'm here is to also represent the community. I know Paul Traveris is trying to get here from work as well. That we thank you for all. Many of you came to some of the meetings that we had in the community and listened to the public who spoke about Juliet Low, the splash park, the picnic area. And you heard some of the kind of consensus around that. And one of the things that everybody pretty much can agree on is that they wanted to see a small picnic area, smaller than what was presented, at the Juliet Low. And we're asking if the council would support a smaller picnic area at Juliet Low, which is really what the community wanted, without the bathrooms, without the lights, minimal intrusion. A small pavilion, something closer to pavilion number 3, 50 people. What was really important was to have some benches and some tables and some water and electricity facilities that the public can keep on there. And, maybe some extra tables and waste bins, a couple of them scattered around the park for casual use. and hopes that you might be able to move forward on that. That would be a win-win for everyone. We understand that there's some funding that was put aside in the CDBG many years ago when I was on the council, and it's probably now going to be red flagged. I don't know exactly how much that is, but what we're thinking that a much smaller footprint, a much smaller facility might fit within that dollar amount, and that we could proceed on that and not lose those funds to HUD, and then we can work on the splash park later. That's not going to happen this year anyhow, and that funding wouldn't come until later in August, and that we can all come together again later and look at some locations that would work for everybody. But we don't want to lose the momentum that is there and what you've already accomplished. And we're hoping that you will work with us to at least get a small picnic area that would accommodate families. And one of the nice things that we had wanted to do is make it available to the town, so if they did want to rent it out, and families did want to reserve it for a large picnic family area, they could, but when it isn't reserved, it would be available to the neighborhood, and it would just be a walk-up park. No extra parking, no extra anything like that. Porta-johns are fine, all right? And a lot of people didn't understand why we wanted porta-johns, because porta-johns are not really that great. The reason is that you take them away and they get cleaned. If they were permanent, then we have a building that can be vandalized. We have to worry about cleaning it. We have to worry about somebody opening it, locking it up like they do at Short Beach, getting the police to do it, which isn't a good reserve of our police. They have some very nice porta-johns that we can put there, and we've always had porta-johns there. We're not looking for people to come from other areas. People want to go, they can go home. So that was my hope, that you might consider that as we go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. We'll close the meeting at... Are we going to talk about the same issue? If we are, I'd like, you've been well noted, okay?
I just came in the middle, so I'm not...
Well,
He wants to know if you're supporting the same issue on it. I think Paul is coming to also support the same request that I...
right. I think your point was well taken, so I think we're going to close the meeting. Okay.